Alright, so I'm making a build guide on my cast on block Warbringer, I believe it is. Okay, so the first thing I'm going over is the ascendancies. I'm going to go over the whole tree. So listen up. This is what you need to know. This build is 100% mine. I did not use a guide at all. I use Spallin a lot in PoE 1, and I said, you know what, I want to make it work in PoE 2. And this is what I came up with. So let me go over like how the build plays to begin with. Put down walls, and you explode them with your frostball. That's the whole play style. And you block with over 90% chance to block due to Svallin's lucky chance to block. And you basically get as good of a Svallin as you can possibly get. And to prove you do not need a headhunter, I will show gameplay of a map without a headhunter. Let me get a different belt. You do need all the other items, though. But you do not need a headhunter. So let me get a cheap ingenuity. Okay, so it needs to have dexterity. Your belt needs to have dexterity. I think around 20. Okay, then we'll try 15, but I don't know if it's going to work. To be honest with you, I have no idea if it's going to work. I do not have no gold. Hold on, let me get the gold first. Okay, the build guide does not start yet. If you wanna see the build guide, uh, quick. Just skip forward. Skip forward until I start talking about the build and shit. Let me get the belt first, though. Has one charm slot. Fuck it. I don't care. Just need one with dexterity. 15 to dex. Okay. That should work, I think. How much dex do I have? Yeah. Fuck. We still need more dex. Okay. Let me get some dex in the tree. We need more strength too. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Oh my god. What the fuck? Oh, we need more gold. Just skip forward. It's fine. I'm fine with it. Everybody's fine with it. Oh my god, I could have just used one of these. Okay. Okay. So we're using a belt that is not uh, headhunter. We're using a belt that is not a headhunter. You can use any belt you want. It just has to have dexterity on it for the most part. All right. Now let me explain how this build works before I go through the gameplay. I have a map here we're gonna try. And like I said, I'm gonna go through the passive tree first. So the passive tree, the ascendancies. We're gonna go through the ascendancies. You want to get this for the block chance. You want to get this. Gain 35% base chance to block from equipped shield instead of the shield's value. I don't really know what this means. You just want to get it because you want to get turtle charm, and then you want to get block chance and then turtle charm. The reason why we want turtle charm is because it raises your maximum block chance to 75%, which is really really good. Okay, and then for the tree, you want to come. You want to go over here, get all this melee damage. You want to get more melee damage. Smash. Unstoppable barrier. You want to get block chance. You want to come down here, get more block chance. You want to come over here, get more attack damage. You want to come over here, get more block chance, maximum block chance. You want to come over here, put in a Grand Spectrum Ruby here. And in this one right here, you want to put in a Heart of the Well for as much damage as you can possibly get. Okay, then gonna want to come up here. You're going to want to get these 3 nodes, which I don't have yet because I'm not high enough level. But you want to get these 3 nodes so you get increased life and attack area damage with attacks. You want to come over here, get melee damage. You want to come up here, get maximum block chance and just block chance in general. You want to come up here. You're going to want to get more block chance, more maximum block chance. You want to get spell damage and attack damage. These are important. Enhanced attacks and emboldened cast are important because you're using both Frost Bolt and Shield Wall. So these attack and spell damage nodes are absolutely necessary. Then you want to come over here, put in another Grand Spectrum Ruby. I forgot to mention, you want to put Grand Spectrum Ruby here. We're stacking life for this build. So you want to put in Grand Spectrum Rubies. Come down here, get more shit for your cast. Increased attack damage if you cast a spell recently. Increased cast speed if you've attacked recently. You're attacking and you're casting constantly. So get these. Get these 4. Now, after all that, you want to come up here and you want to come over here and you want to get more block chance. Shitload of block chance. You want as much block chance as possible on this build. You want to come up here and get as much elemental damage as you can. And you want to get all this cold damage because we're using Frostbolt. Alright, that's it for the tree. The only other nodes you might want to get are these 3 here for even more increased life. You want to get these 2, and you want to get this one right here, Unbending. You do not want to go past these 3. These over here are kind of good, but you're not immobilizing enemies all the time. So these aren't really going to help you too much. I just got these 3 here for the melee damage, for a shield wall. Because if you look at shield wall, it's considered a melee attack. Alright, now I didn't go over the rest of the points. You're going to have 4 other points. These are just 4 points. You're going to have 4 more points if you get all your shit. Fully broken armor, so increases all damage taken instead. You can put you might want to get these 4. It's kind of up to you, but we're going for a tank playstyle. I recommend you get these 2, the Anvil's Way, and then you get Jade Heritage. That's what I recommend, because Guard is fucking OP. Alright, and these over here aren't going to help you in any way, because we don't use totems. And these 2 also, you could use War Cries. I could see it working with War Cries, but again, that's up to you. I don't recommend it. I recommend Anvil's Way and Jade Heritage. And, of course, you need Turtle Charm. Alright, now let's go over the items. Let's go over what's absolutely necessary. Kaom's Heart, absolutely necessary. Defiance of Destiny, a good one, absolutely necessary. These two items right here, Kaom's Heart and Defiance of Destiny, are absolutely necessary. Now, if you want to get 90 over 90% block chance, maybe even 95, 96%, you're gonna need a Svalin for that chance to block damage is lucky. But you're gonna want to get a Svalin with as little you take number percent of damage from blocked hits as possible. And you want to get one with as much armor you can get. Now, using a Svalin is inherently going to lower how much damage you can do with this build. It is going to increase your block chance by a shit ton, but it is inherently going to lower how much damage you can do with this build. And I will explain why right now. In fact, I won't even explain it, I'll just show you. The reason it is inherently going to decrease the amount of damage you can do with this build is because your shield wall scales with how much armor your shield has on it. And if we go over here and look for a 1,000 armor rating shield, you know, look how cheap they are. They're not very expensive. They're pretty cheap. You could get more damage and you could even get more block chance. Now let me explain how that works. You are never going to hit as much block chance as a Svalin with any other shield. It doesn't matter what you do. You are never going to hit that block chance point because no other shield is going to have a lucky chance to block. But you can get life on it. You can get maximum to resistance. You can get resistances in general. And you can get a shitload of armor. And like I said, shield wall scales with the amount of armor you have on your shield. So if you want to get a shield wall, or if you want to get your shield wall's damage up astromentally, you are not going to want to use Svalin. But we use it because we want to be tanky. We don't care about damage. It's for tankiness. You could even get a mirror tier shield. It's up to you. It's going to increase your damage a lot. Okay, I just wanted to make that known. So let me go over the uniques that are absolutely necessary one more time. Kaom's Heart, Defiance of Destiny. And I recommend, this is not absolutely necessary, but I recommend you use a Snake Pit Pearl Ring. Why? Why do you want to use a Snake Pit Pearl Ring? I will explain why right now. The reason you want to use a Snake Pit Pearl Ring is because it allows your frost bolts to explode upon impact. They will not pierce. So you put down a shield wall, right? And they just explode your shield wall. That's what you want. That's why you want this. Let me show you what happens if you don't have this. You do not get instant explosions from your shield wall. So it is not absolutely necessary, but it is a good quality of life improvement. Now the wand, you do not actually want a wand. I will show you what you want to get on this build. The reason I have a wand is because I just haven't bought what I need actually. But you want a sacred scepter. I forgot what they're called. Sacred flame shrine scepter. You want one with at least 60% extra damage as fire. $10 divine. It's very pricey, but this is what you want. This is what you absolutely want. It's going to increase your shield wall's damage astromentally, way more than a wand would. And it's going to increase your damage. Okay, so let me explain why you do not want plus to skills. Plus to skills doesn't just increase your damage, it also increases the amount of mana the skill costs. You don't want that. You don't want the mana cost to go to skyrocket. That's another reason why we use this for tankiness. But you're probably like, well, what if I get a plus to skills, plus to melee skills amulet? You don't want that. You don't want your shield wall to have an insanely high mana cost. And why is that the case? Because you want your cast on block to be able to cast Comet consistently. Now let me go over some optional stuff. Malagar's Virtuosity. We can't really scale crit in this build because we're putting so many of our points into block chance and uh, spell and attack damage. So you could use a Malagar's Virtuosity, and then you could just plug Pinpoint Critical and Inexorable Critical like this one. Another item you might want, a Headhunter. Obviously, Headhunter goes good with any build. You do not need it. I'm going to prove to you that you don't need it. Also, these charms, you do not need the unique ones, but you do need charms that have these effects at least. You need charms. You need a charm that grants immunity to ignite, one that grants immunity to poison, and one that grants immunity to bleeding. That's what you need. They do not need to be unique though. They can be common, normal, whatever the fuck you want to call it. They can be magic. It doesn't matter. As long as you have these three immunities, you'll be fine. Okay, what else? The rain can be whatever. The helmet can be whatever. Boots can be whatever. Like I said, the Malagar's Virtuosity is optional. You do not need this, but they're cheap. So I do kind of recommend you get one, but you don't need it. Again, Snake Pit, Pearl Ring. You don't need it, but it is cheap. I recommend you get one. Kaom's Heart is cheap. You need it. Kaom's Heart is required. Defiance of Destiny, a good one, is required. What do I mean by a good one? The increased maximum life is helpful. Don't get me wrong, but it is not required. The increased maximum life is not required. What is required is the recovered number percent of missing life before being hit by an enemy. That number, the higher that number, the better that number is, the better this build's going to be. I'm telling you right now, the higher that number, the more survivability you're going to be able to squeeze out of this build. Okay. Again, Smallin is not absolutely required, but if you want to go the tanky route, then it is required. If you want to go the tanky route, get a good Smallin. Okay, what else? Levianga's Spirits isn't required, but it's nice to have because we don't have a very high mana cost for this build. All right, now let me show some gameplay on just a tier 14 map. We're not gonna do anything crazy. It ain't no tier 16. I don't have the currency for a tier 16. I don't even have any fucking gold, you know. So we're just gonna do a tier 14. It's what I can get. Now, this build can 100% do all the content in the game. I just don't have the gold, so I'm not dealing with it. I don't care. You want to see a tier 16? Go somewhere else. As you can see, the comments will sometimes just blow up your shit for you. You won't even have to shoot crossbows. Well, we're doing a rare 0 revive tier 14 just fine. We're doing it just fine. We're slow as fuck. We're getting hit. Doesn't matter. We're healing all that back because of Defiance of Destiny. Watch out for the ground effects. You can't block those. You have a 90%. You have over a 90% chance to block. Again, I'm not using Headhunter. I'm doing just fine. And watch out for the ground effects. Watch out for bleed. If you start bleeding, use a health pot. If you start noticing your health going down, it's because of damage over time. Use something like a health pot. Get an Olroth's. I don't have an Olroth's. You don't need one. Did I say you needed one? When I was going over the gear, did I say you needed an Olroth's? No, I did not say you needed one. Look, we're blocking all the hits. We're blocking all of them. And look, all those comets are coming down. Oh my god. And the comets are just blowing up our walls for us. It's absolute travesty how overpowered this is. Look, our wall is just detonating on its own. We're blocking everything. We're absolutely obliterating. Comments are coming down left and right. If you don't like this build, you don't like fun. Look at this shit. Look at this. This is fucking awesome. You're tanky as fuck. Comments are coming down left and right. There's no way it's gonna get nerfed because nobody uses Swallow. Nobody uses that shit. Even though Fallen is absolutely overpowered for any tanky build, any build that wants to be tanky, they need to buff Fallen. If they buffed Fallen and gave it 200 more armor rating on the shield, oh my god, it would be fucking insane. This build would be insane. Can this build do Zesht? The answer is yes. Can this build do Aura? The answer is yes. Can this build do all the content in the game? The answer is yes, because of how tanky it is. So let's back up with some fucking distance on our dig. Yeah, I thought he was going to do something. No sir, no sir. We're blowing them all to the sky high. Can this build work without shield wall? Maybe. Maybe. That's a hard maybe. If you use a melee skill that... Okay, let me give you a little tidbit here. There might be a mace skill that you can use if you equip a one-handed mace. I'm going to try that out. I'm going to give that a try. Will it work better than Shield Wall? I'm not 100% sure it will. Just watch out for damage over time in the ground ejects. Remember. Chaos damage. Sorry. Ground degens though. Poison. It does a little bit to this, I'm not gonna lie. But look at our potions. We still have 11. We're perfectly fine. 0 revives. We don't even have all the nodes we can possibly get. Like I said, you want to get these 2 over here. You want to get these 3 for here for unbending. You don't even have to. Is the build slow? Not really. I don't consider it slow because you're getting the job done. You know? You're getting the job done. It does everything you need it to do. It's tanky as fuck. There's nothing slow about it. Oh, and he just one-shot us. We got humbled by the fucking... Shit. We got humbled by the gorilla. First of all, you can't block those hits. So, I mean, I'm still posting this. I don't give a fuck. I mean, who doesn't get one shot by that fucking dude? Come on now. Like, for real, who doesn't get one shot by that guy? Dude, what the fuck? The one thing we can't block, we just get absolutely fucked by. Okay, that's fucking hilarious. That is fucking crazy. Oh my god, man, what the fuck? Where are my dexterity nodes that I need to replace? Here they are. Alright. Now, is this build tanky? Yes. Can you one shot or can you block attacks that can't be blocked? Not anymore. You used to actually be able to do that. You can't do that anymore. The turtle charm used to be incredibly overpowered and it used to let you do that. Not anymore, unfortunately. I should have just dodged it. That's a skill issue. That's not a build issue. That is not a build issue. That's a skill issue. You cannot disagree on that. That is 100% a skill issue. If I would have paid more attention, I could have blocked it, or not blocked it. I could have. I could have dodged it. I could have 100% dodged it. So that's a skill issue. We're just going into a base tier 14 out just to show a little more gameplay before I end the video. If I had more skill at the game, I would not have died. Let's be honest. This build is incredibly old. Again, like I said, you can squeeze a shitload more damage out. Just not with Swallow. But I want to go for the tankiness. I like being tanky. I like being able to block everything. And if you want to be able to block everything, you need a Swallow. You'll never be able to hit the block chance that a Swallow can hit. It's just not possible. But a good shield with like 1,000 armor rating is going to make your shield wall do extreme damage, which is something I might try. But I'm not going to make it like a see what this doing. Again, I showed you don't need a headhunter. I was killing rares just fine with that. You do not need a headhunter. Does it help? Is it nice to have? Yes. Do you need one? No. You do not need one. I did show though, you don't want this wand. I'm gonna get the scepter. I'm gonna get the scepter soon. You do want that scepter that I showed for 60% extra damage on it. Extra fire damage. You want to get that scepter as soon as you can. With a good Swallow. With a good Kaom's Heart. This is not a good Kaom's Heart. I will give an example of a good, expensive, really good Kaom's Heart. Okay, let's go over the skill gems now. I went over everything else. I just didn't go over the skill gems. So we have Frostbow, Pinpoint Critical, Rapid Casting 2, Deliberation, Inexorable Critical 2. This one's kind of iffy. This one you can switch out with, I forgot what it's called. Considered Casting. You could switch this out, Considered Casting, and I feel like you'd get more DPS out of it. Efficiency 2. You really want Efficiency 2, but you don't need it. If you can find some way to squeeze in a shitload of mana regeneration rate, you do not need this. Okay, Shield Wall with Pinpoint Critical, Elemental Armament 2, Rapid Attacks 2, Heft, Efficiency 2. Again, Rapid Attacks 2 is another one that's kind of iffy. For whatever element you're doing, you can get an attunement for that element, and you'll probably be able to squeeze out even more damage. Comet. On our cast on block, we have Comet. Boundless Energy 2. Efficiency 2. That is all you need. That is it. You can get a better Svalin with more slots, more sockets in it, more gem sockets, whatever the fuck you want to call them. You do not need anything else, though. That's all you need. But you definitely want Efficiency 2 in here because that Comet is going to be using a lot of your mana. And if you want to use Raised Shield every now and then, just put Steadfast 2 in there. Now, we have Spell Slinger on our wand. Like I said, you're not even going to be using a wand if you're playing this build optimally. You're going to be using that Sacred Flame Shrine Scepter. So this is completely negligible. This is whatever. For the passives, if you're use a belt with Dex. Then for the passives, for the most, in terms of the stats, in terms of the core stats, you want to get mostly Strength and Intelligence. Get as much Dex as you need, but mostly Strength and Intelligence. Now, what do I mean by Dex that you may need? If you're going to use a Malagar's Virtuosity like me, then you're going to need a little bit of Dex. I get it from the Headhunter. If you don't have a Headhunter, get another belt with Dex, and then get a little bit of Dex on your tree. That's it. Okay, so this boss I actually have trouble with. So let's see if we can even kill him. I don't even know if we can kill this guy. Yeah, like some of his attacks are absolutely brutal. And we have no chaos. By the way, we have no chaos rings. And this guy does only chaos damage, mainly. I don't know if that's all he does, but he does mainly chaos damage. Like usually on a lot of my other characters, I struggle with this guy, with this boss. So we'll do that attack. Whatever, doesn't matter. He's stunned. Good opportunity to get some good damage. He's dead. We did not struggle with him at all. We had to use maybe 1 or 2 potions. Tier 14, by the way, we didn't put any mods on it. I showed you can do one with 0 revives. We just got 1 shot. If you want to see one with 0 revives, maybe I'll do another one later and make a video on it. I don't know. I don't really care too much. Yeah, I went over everything. You need these. They do not need to be unique. You just need ones that grant you these immunities. Poison, Ignite, Bleeding. You need Kaom's Heart. You need a good, I cannot stress enough, it needs to be good. A good Defiance of Destiny. And remember, the only line that I said needs to be good is to recover number percent of missing life before being hit by an enemy. You do not need a Svalin, but I do recommend it. If you want to be tanky, then you do need one. I recommend Snake Pit Pearl Ring. I recommend a Headhunter. You don't need it, but I recommend it. Malagar's Virtuosity. I recommend it, but you don't need it. What you do need, which I don't even have, is that Scepter, the Sacred Flame Shrine Scepter. Get one with 60% extra damage as fire. My bad. As extra fire damage. 60% at least. That's it. The rest, just cap your reses and get some armor. Get some armor on your gear and cap your reses. That is it. Again, another one I recommend, Levianga's Spirits. That's it. I'm done. That's the build. Try it out. It's good. It's overpowered. It's goated.